Son of God appeared. Heaven and earth rejoice. Salvation is drawing near. Salvation is drawing near. Oh, come, O rod of Jesse, stand from every folding river that trust your mighty power to save and give them victory over the grave. Come, come, Emmanuel, Son of God appear. Heaven and earth rejoice. Salvation is drawing near. Salvation is drawing near. Come, desire of nations bind, and won the hearts of all mankind. Oh, bid our sad division cease, and be for us the Prince.
All right, we are back on our fall Care-a-thon, Joy of the Gospel. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio, 101.7 KJDM, Lindsborg and Salina, 105.7 KMDG Hayes, 88.1 KRTT Great Bend, 88.1 KVDM Hayes, and 89.1 KGOH Colby. We got another great lineup coming here for these next couple of hours. Here in just a minute, we're going to get to Sean Lindenberger and Darin Reed. We are going to be talking about the Catholic difference, Knights of Columbus Insurance versus the other guys. So this ought to be a pretty good one. Stay tuned. First, a couple of announcements. If you are the first donor that gives $100 or more this hour, we are going to give away a book. And we'll get that book in here so that I can show it to everybody watching online. That book is No Bullet Got Me Yet, The Relentless Faith of Father Capon. And this was given away yesterday. Also, a great book. This is compliments of Dave and Cindy Lang. And I think it is also signed on the inside cover by the author there. So just kind of a really neat thing to have. That goes to the first caller this hour with a $100 donation or more. No Bullet Got Me Yet, The Relentless Faith of Father Capon by John Stantifer. Thank you, Dave and Cindy Lang, for putting that out there. Also, we'll get to a trivia question here in a little bit. That trivia question, if you call on to 785-621-4110, we will put your name into the drawing if you get that right. And that drawing is for a $50 gift certificate. Let me slow down a little bit there. And that is to the Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hayes, down on 10th Street. Beautiful store. If you win it, go down there. If you don't, go down there anyway, because it's an awesome store, awesome owners. You are listening to The Joy of the Gospel. Call 785-621-4110 for your pledges. That's 785-621-4110, and that is the same number to call for this trivia question. All right, here we go. First question, 9 a.m. hour. What did the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe appear on? Is it A, a poncho, B, a toga, C, a tilma, or D, a leather cloak? Is it A, a poncho, B, a toga, C, a tilma, or D, a leather cloak? What did the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe appear on? 785-621-4110. All right, here we go. We've got Darin Reed and Sean Lindenberger in here with us. Let's turn your mics on. How we doing, fellas?
Good. Good. How are you this morning, Cody?
Absolutely fantastic. I had my coffee, as you can tell. All right. So Darin Reed became a field agent for Knights of Columbus Insurance in 2005 and was promoted to general agent in 2019. Darin is a veteran of the Marine Corps, where he served as a tank mechanic and platoon sergeant. He's married to April, and the couple have 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, ranging in age from 8 to 18, and they live in Ellis. Sean Linenberger became a field agent for Knights of Columbus Insurance in 2015, beginning year number 10 this month. Sean is a graduate from Hayes High School and Fort Hays State University. He's been married to his beautiful bride, Nicole, for 20 years, and they have 3 boys, Will, who is 18, Parker, who's 16, and Zeke, who is 5, and they live here in Hayes. Great having you fellas on.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. You know, Darin, one of the cool things that we did not too long ago is that we got to do a one body show. And so if people are out there listening right now, then go to our Divine Mercy Radio YouTube section, and you could find that out there where Darin came in and was talking somewhat about some of the things that we may cover today. But this will be a good way to get the rest of that information out there. All right.
Yeah.
So first thing is, and this may have been covered in that talk, but which one of you wants to lead us into, what in the world is the Knights of Columbus? How did it get started?
Yeah, I'll start with that. Basically, the Knights of Columbus started out as a benefit society in the late 1800s in New Haven, Connecticut. The Catholic immigrants, really throughout the Northeast, it was a very difficult time for the immigrants. Catholics in particular were a despised minority that would often fall victim to hazardous occupations, early death. And when this would happen, the widows and orphans would have nowhere to turn. So they would invariably turn to the church, but the church could only provide what the particular priest had, which was little to nothing. So in St. Mary's Church in New Haven, Connecticut, a second-generation Irish immigrant priest named Father Michael McGivney saw what was happening. He gathered the concernment of the parish together and basically said, we need something that's going to be an organization of Catholics taking care of Catholics. And it started out as a benefit society, as it is today, meaning all members, if there's an untimely death, there's a benefit for their family. Started out as a pass the hat organization. Darin passes a hat's passed around church. The sum of those parts goes to my wife, April. That's the same concept as life insurance. Everyone puts in a little, so when it's needed for the individual, it maximizes the benefit. And that priest is now blessed. He's one miracle away from sainthood. Blessed McGivney.
Yeah.
So
that is awesome that you say, this was started as Catholics caring for Catholics. I don't know of another insurance agency that does that.
Me neither. Me neither.
So, that's one of the first beautiful things is we really are part of this brotherhood that is centered on the well-being of others according to our Catholic faith. Because there's plenty of insurance agencies out there, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But there's not another one that says, no, this was started in regards to our Catholic faith of how can we be charitable to those around us. So
absolutely.
That's a beautiful thing. I want to break back in here really quickly. I thank someone and congratulate someone. So I want to congratulate Jackie Scola. She is the winner of our trivia question, which was, what did the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe appear on? The correct answer there is a tilma. So congratulations to Jackie. We'll get you put into that drawing for that gift certificate later today. And we also want to thank Mary Ann, who donated $250. Thank you so very much, Mary Ann. You're helping us to use up those matching funds that we have. We started this morning with 20,000. We're probably down to about 17 or 18, somewhere in there. We are trying to get to our total goal of $125,000. Help us to keep the lights on, folks. Help us to keep spreading the joy of the gospel by calling into 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. We're going to get right back to talking with Darin Reed and Sean Linenberger. They are both Knights of Columbus insurance agents, and we're discussing the founding of that, where it comes from, the purpose of it, and stuff like that. So let's jump right back into it. And we've got another question here that is, insurance is just one of the many benefits to being a member of the Knights. What type of insurance does the Knights of Columbus offer? Man, that's a pretty broad question.
Yeah.
We could spend a lot of time on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's several things that the Knights of Columbus has to offer other than life insurance. You know, first and foremost, like Darin was saying, that we're a benefit society, and the fact that we have widow benefits also available. If one of our brothers die in the line of duty due to a felonious act, so we're talking servicemen, we're talking firefighters, police men, stuff like that. We have benefits for their widows if something and they die in the line of duty. Also scholarships available for their children. So if someone like Darin, who's serving in the military, dies during a felonious act or something like that, then their children will receive 4 years of a Catholic college education free of charge. That's something that's not often, we don't pound our chest enough, and that's maybe something that's our own misdoing. We need to be proud of the organization we're a part of. So that is one of the things, but some of the other areas that we cover, Cody, we have retirement annuities. So we have an annuity program, where we offer IRAs, we offer Roth IRAs, we offer non-qualified accounts, or essentially like a glorified savings account. We have long-term care. When so many of the major players in the business are getting out of the long-term care game, the Knights of Columbus is doubling down. We're not going anywhere when it comes to long-term care or disability income insurance. Essentially, you're ensuring your ability to go to work every day. So those are just some of the other coverages that the Knights of Columbus has to offer. Then the Knights of Columbus, just a handful of years ago, got into the investment game. So we have mutual funds also, which I'm not really at liberty to discuss. You have to have certain qualifications, but that is something that the Knights of Columbus does offer.
Okay. So I want to ask you guys a question really quickly, because this is another one of those things that's just absolutely amazing. So we've got somebody who's in the military, firefighter, police officer, which all of those people have a special place in my heart. For everybody who is listening, if you are one of those people, thank you for your service. That's such a blessing. So you got somebody who's a brother knight, who is in the military. And like you said, maybe they're called over to war, and they pass away due to that. That allows their children then to do what?
Well, if they die because of being, active and serving and dying because of that, then their children get 4 years of a Catholic college education free of charge.
That's crazy.
Just for being members of the Knights.
Who does that?
Nobody.
The Knights of Columbus.
No.
Like, wow. That is so. I mean, that is such a blessing. And we have a pretty good Catholic college here in our state, even. And so that is a really cool thing. And want to thank the Knights for that. And then also just maybe this was for later, but I know there's also for widows and stuff like that. There are also benefits that widows can take advantage of simply because of their husband being a member in the Knights of Columbus. Is that correct?
Yeah. For forever, frankly, until about a year ago. And I'll use myself as an example. My mom and sister are both widows, and gosh, dad's been gone 20 years now. And it had always been the rule, if the knight passes away, the widow can only, if she already has products with us, she can keep those, but she can't take anything new out after a year of his death. Okay. So the old rules, I die, my wife can't take out new policies beyond a year, beyond the anniversary of the first anniversary of my death. Now, our Supreme Knight Patrick Kelly completely opened the door up, and my mom, who's been a widow of 20 years, can get products with the Knights of Columbus. Wow. And I was even told, it was confirmed to me just last week, that if said widow ends up remarrying, she's still a widow of a Knight of Columbus, so she can still get stuff. I mean, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. So that's a huge, so there's I mean, there's a lot of widows throughout our listening area, throughout the order, that were under the impression, well, I missed the year window. I can no longer do anything. That's no longer true. They can.
Wow, and that is a huge help, because I bet you're right. I'm sure there are people out there listening right now that had no idea. So first thing
Well,
might be, would they just need to come find like one of you guys?
Yeah,
What-
contact your agent, contact the regional office in Ellis, and I can put you in contact with your agent.
Okay,
But yeah, absolutely.
just make a phone call and let's get it going.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
part of the reason, Cody, for that rule, or that old rule, was simply because of our bylaws didn't allow for us to serve the widow beyond a year. And that goes back to the Catholic difference again, what we were talking about. You're not going to find a Knights of Columbus stadium out there. There's no Knights of Columbus field in New York City. You don't have that. And the reason why is because technically the Knights of Columbus is a 501c3. We're technically a non-for-profit. So when you think about it, while other companies out there, and I'm not going to name names, but big time insurance companies are trying to line their pockets as much as possible to have these stadiums or whatever. Knights of Columbus, we're more in the business of taking care of our members and giving back, and that's how we're able to give $180 million to charity
Every year.
Yeah.
And that's that goes with our faith and what we believe in taking care of another human, another Catholic.
Yeah.
One of the biggest companies in the world and one of the most successful companies in the world, Microsoft, the Knights of Columbus give more to charity than Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you actually and if people want to look this up, what because people also don't understand is that the Knights of Columbus, the service hours that Brother Knights put forward, that's what really propels it. Is, I mean, one, the Knights of Columbus insurance backing, they give a lot anyway.
Right.
But then also, yeah, all of the service that the members put together, you're talking, I don't remember what it was, but it was millions of hours.
Like 81 million a year.
Yeah.
It's
That's
crazy.
insane.
And the other thing to keep in mind, and this is a true story that happened to me since I've been in here last. I'm trying to keep it as anonymous as possible. Basically, an older gentleman called me in our state and said he knew of a gentleman. We'll say John. John is a brother knight, doesn't have insurance with us. Joining the order is free right now, so it didn't cost him anything. But he joined. He helps out in the council. John's wife, Mary, they got in a horrible car wreck. They didn't have insurance with us. I just want to reiterate that. They got in a horrible car wreck, and Mary died. So this older gentleman called me. He's kind of the go-between between myself and John and Mary, and because I'd never met John and Mary. And he said, is there anything we can provide for him? Young couple, and $1,500. I was able to do the claim, and that's just for his benefits of being a member. He didn't pay for it. He was just a brother knight. His wife was married to a brother knight. I was able to send $1,500, which I know to a lot of people doesn't seem like a lot, but take your mind back to when we were all newlyweds, before you had kids, barely getting by.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in the world happens to you, and this order that you joined for free is paying you $1,500. I mean,
wow.
It's not gonna. My brother, who used to be with the Knights, said one time, he goes, our job is to make the worst day in someone's life just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because you're not, I mean, all three of us have been through enough loss, but you're not gonna bring that loss back. You're not gonna bring that person back. But our job as Knights of Columbus Insurance is to make it just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And
that's a beautiful thing, because as we've said at the beginning, you're not going to find that somewhere. You're going to have I can guarantee you that you're not going to find another insurance agency that's going to be like, well, this isn't supposed to be possible. Let me see what I can do
Yeah.
to get you money anywhere that I can find it.
Yeah.
Most other ones, no, yeah, I won't name names, but most other ones are probably going to be like, no, sorry.
Yeah, you weren't paying us. We're not going to
Yeah,
pay you. It's a
exactly.
business. It's as simple as that, But with the Knights of Columbus insurance, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
It's a business and then some.
Yeah.
Really.
Wow. I'm going to break in really quickly because I want to congratulate Mary Ann, who donated earlier. She also got that book. I mean, I forgot to mention that. She got the book right here next to me. I'm going to hold it up so that people can see it. And that book here is No Bullet Got Me Yet, The Relentless Faith of Father Capon. And it is signed by the author. So what a cool book. And we thank everybody who gives us stuff like that. That one was given away by Dave and Cindy Lang. So thank you, Dave and Cindy Lang. Also want to thank Joel and Amber Younger, who donated $250, and Flatlander Dirtworks, who donated $250. So those two donations together are a $500 donation, which then gets doubled to $1,000. And so with our matching funds that we have. So thank you to Joel and Amber. Thank you, Flatlander Dirtworks. You just helped us in our evangelization process here. Thank you for putting your money to good work. If there's others of you out there who are listening and who want to help in evangelization but don't know how, this is actually one of the easiest ways. We'll do it for you. If you call in and donate to Divine Mercy Radio right now during our Care-a-thon, we put your money to work by proclaiming the truth of the gospel. You're listening to our fall Care-a-thon, Joy of the Gospel. We have our total goal of $125,000 that we'd like to hit tomorrow. We've still got matching funds, probably around somewhere $17,000, $18,000 in matching funds. So what those are is if you call in, they automatically double your donation. Your $500 donation becomes $1,000. Your $100 becomes $200. You get it. Call in 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. We're talking with Darin Reed and Sean Lindenberger about Knights of Columbus Insurance versus the other guys. So, question we haven't really hit yet is, nothing's ever really happened to me. Why do I need insurance? How would you guys answer that?
Well, I mean, we're thankful that nothing's happened to you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
First and foremost.
Yeah,
But,
great.
like Darin said, ultimately we're here to be on the worst day possible. I mean, I've personally taken care of situations where, husband and wife, perfectly healthy, nothing wrong with them. And, they private pilot and he flies down to New Mexico, and on his way back, they have an airplane accident and they both perish. And I'm there to help pick up the daughters. He had 3 daughters, left to pick up the pieces for that family. Very good clients of mine. I can remember that incident very vividly. I do Adoration Hour from 12 to 1 on Sunday nights. I came home from Adoration Hour and was just mindlessly scrolling through Facebook to try to fall asleep, and had saw the daughter had posted that her father, was in an accident, and I'd been moved to tears, and my wife wakes up and is like, "Why in the heck are you crying? It's 1:30 in the morning." And
Yeah.
And that's just the impact of our jobs. We're not just insurance guys, and I think Darin would be one of the first ones to tell you we're not insurance guys. We are field agents, and the relationships that we build with our clients, whether they're insurance members or not, regardless, we are here to take care of our brothers. To me, I take that role very seriously, and I think that the relationships I have with so many of my clients is what makes my job less of a job every day. I go to work and I truly enjoy taking care of people. So,
and I would echo all those things, and nobody's going to get out of here alive. So, I mean, something's going to happen.
No way.
Yeah, that's true. And I had an appointment. Okay, this happened. What spurred this review happened several years ago. And I just met with the people again the other night. This review was already posted on social media years ago, but I was just reminded of it the other day, and this review was written after this family wrote it on their social media. Darin and the Knights of Columbus have been wonderful to work with for our insurance needs. When I decided to stay home with our sons, Darin helped me with all the paperwork as far as investments and insurance and what I needed to do with pension plan, etc. When our son passed away, Darin was very sympathetic, understanding, and most importantly, supportive. With our life insurance policy on our son, the amount we received from it helped us with funeral and medical expenses. We didn't have to be concerned about how we were going to financially pay for it all. With Knights of Columbus Insurance and help of Darin as our field agent, we didn't have to worry. Darin's a wonderful, caring person to work with, and we were very fortunate to have the opportunity to know him as an agent and as a friend. And well, I'm sure my friend Sean is going to say that I wrote that myself, but that's not unique to me. That could be written about Sean. That could be written about Pat or Jose or Cody or Brady or Kirby or any of our agents. That's a unique thing with the Knights of Columbus. Our greatest strength is our field force. You know, these men work full time, and at the drop of a hat, they're at your beck and call to come help because they truly believe in blessing and giving these vision of protecting their fellow man. And the other thing I would point out real quick is that I've been doing this long enough that there's almost everybody has some form of insurance or protection. Don't you want your insurance agent to know you on a first name basis? Meaning, I don't know how many claims that I've done. They call us one-on-one. They have our personal cell phone numbers, but they also happen to have a policy that they bought online or through an 800 number or something on social media told them to do it. And well, who do they call? Well, they call it 800 number and they're on hold for 2 hours. Then they get connected with somebody that has English as their fifth language. I mean, it's salt in the wound. So, you know, you put your money, you get what you pay for, you know, and the premium you pay is not only paying a great top of the line product, it's paying for a top agent, you know, somebody that truly sweats and bleeds for you and your family's protection.
You know, as you were saying that, I do want to bring up, and you guys can let us know, but also the insurance that is offered through Knights of Columbus. You know, it's not even just like one among many, but the rating that the Knights of Columbus has. Would you guys speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, the Knights of Columbus works with 2% of the population in the United States, Cody, but yet we're in the top 5% of all insurance companies in North America. And there's a reason for that. You know, we offer top of the line products that truly get better and better year after year. We are a Fortune 1000 company, again, working with only 2% of the population. And as far as our ratings go, we receive the highest ratings offered in North America. So it's really something that, you know, even though we work with only a small population, we come out on top, which is pretty remarkable when you think about who our competitors can work with. They can work with anybody. We don't have that. But ultimately, you know, our clients choose us because of the quality of product that we have to offer.
That is awesome. I had to grab my phone just to look this up really quickly. As of 2021, so it probably has gone up since then, there were 5,978 domestic insurance companies in the United States. And the number of insurance brokers and agencies in the U.S. was 417,730 in 2023. So whatever those numbers mean, the Knights of Columbus is in the top 5% of all of that. So that's just a beautiful thing. I mean, and I knew that that was like that, and it's been like that for how many years? I mean,
many years, and just the past few years, Forbes magazine listed us as amongst the top insurance companies in the world.
That's awesome.
And to explain what Sean was saying, the only dealing with 2%, that's because the membership is only 2%. So 2 million members, about 2% of the population. That's why we're really making a push the past several years to get all eligible Catholic men to join the Knights of Columbus, because if you have, I don't even know how many Catholics are in the country.
I don't know a lot.
You know what I mean? Many, 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 many million. And 2 million of them are Brother Knights, and if not now, when? Why would you not?
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, right now, we're offering a free promotion for the first year of membership into the Knights of Columbus, 100% free. That's on us.
Yeah.
And yet the thing that really dumbfounds me is there's guys out there that are still ho-humming about joining the world's largest Catholic fraternal organization.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make much sense, especially when you start talking about the fraternal benefits that we have to offer our members. Ultimately, you don't have to take out a product with the Knights of Columbus to receive our service.
Not at all.
Darin and I's service to our members is 100% free of charge.
Yeah.
There's a workbook that I brought here, Cody, a personal planning workbook, and it talks about financials, but it also talks about planning a funeral. I have a member in Great Bend that I had worked with that he doesn't have any family in town. And, part of my duty as a field agent, and I do hold this to be true, is, we'll even help plan your funeral if you'd like us to help you with that.
Wow.
And so when I told him that, he said, funny, I don't have anybody to help me with that. So one of my appointments was him. I sat down and we went through a workbook planning out the readings for his funeral, who he wanted for casket bearers,
Holy cow.
who he wanted, what music he wanted played. And we sent that into the Bryant Funeral Home there in Great Bend, Kansas. And so I know that my member, when he does pass, his arrangements have already been planned out for him. And that was 100% free of charge. And we're willing to do that with any of our members. Going back real quick to your previous question, if we have a member that passes, one of the things that I take great pride in is how many insurance agents do you know that will stand and pray over a rosary over your casket?
Yeah, really.
That is something that separates the Knights of Columbus from other insurance companies, because unless you're good friends with Tom down the street, he's not going to stand over your casket and pray a rosary after you've passed.
Yeah,
that's just another little difference between us and the next guy.
And I think that's so beautiful because, one, you're talking about that personal touch, which I would say, and as you guys mentioned earlier, that's almost gone out the window in our society today. Getting to talk to a human being it's dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you're not lying about like staying on the line for 2 hours, and it's just like, really? And so yes, customer service, that's one thing, that personal touch. But especially for me, like I'm Catholic because I know it's the truth and I love it. And so to know that is a really peaceful thing also, to know that there are going to be people from my fraternal organization that are going to stand at my funeral and are going to pray for me when I may need it the most.
Yeah.
Because if I'm spending time in purgatory, please pray for me.
Yeah. Well, and it's you asking, well, I'm not dying today. Once again, I'll change completely the names and everything, but a gentleman that I met with when I first started, so we're going 15, 16 years ago, almost 20, kind of a nice guy, but he didn't want to go into details with anything. And he was very proud of the fact that he had a paid up policy with a different company that was substantial. And, I offered genuinely, you want me to take a look at it and just give you just be your interpreter. And that's truly what the Knights of Columbus Field Agent is. We're an interpreter for you in the language of life insurance. That's all. I couldn't sell anything to the guy anyway. He was too old, frankly. So I was like, why don't you let me take a look at it? He wouldn't let me. So long story short, just earlier this year, he came and contacted me, and he said, hey, I got this policy I was so proud of, got bought out from a different company, and then got bought out from another different company. But he was just kind of one of the, those old stubborn Germans that just knew he was right. And well, the company ended up calling him and was like, hey, guess what? You need to start paying thousands of dollars a month to keep this alive.
Oh my goodness.
And he came to me and was basically like, what can I do? It was too late. It was too late. And I don't feel bad for the guy, but that's not unique with our friends and family throughout Western Kansas, especially, that it's that old stubborn, I know what I got, you're just trying to sell me something. I couldn't have sold anything to him 20 years ago anyway, but
you just wanted to help him out.
Yeah, I just wanted to help him out. And at that point, I could have at least given him a heads up. Hey, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But he was thinking his whole life he had something.
And
now
there
it's
it is
gone. Yeah.
Wow.
It's gone.
Well, we are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-thon. We're on with Darin Reed and Sean Linenberger. I want to get to our second trivia question of the 9 o'clock hour. So that number that you call is 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. Here is your question. Which seminary do our current transitional deacons, that would be Cade, Jesse, and Adam, attend? Is it A, Conception, B, St. John Vianney, C, Kenrick Glennon, or D, Sacred Heart Seminary? Which seminary do our current transitional deacons who are Cade, Jesse, and Adam attend? Is it Conception, St. John Vianney, Kenrick Glennon, or Sacred Heart? Give us a call at 785-621-4110. If you get that right, we'll put you into the drawing for that $50 gift certificate to Messenger, Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts, and we draw that right before 6 o'clock every day. I also want to remind people that as you're listening to us on our Fall Care-a-thon, the theme is Joy of the Gospel. Right now, we're talking with Darin Reed and Sean Linenberger about Knights of Columbus insurance. And really, I mean, just the joy of knowing, hey, if something happens, I'm going to be covered. If something happens, I've got brother knights who are going to help take care of my family. That is such a joyful thing, understanding like things are going to be okay. And so we want you to keep listening as we dive further into this conversation. But we also ask that you would partner with this radio station. That's why we're here right now, is to do our second drive of the year. We do this twice a year, and this is what pays for everything through the entire year, whether that is our electricity, whether that is for the towers that we have to rent or the one that we own, or whatever it is. This is what pays for all of the bills so that we can keep the joy of the gospel going out there. So if you're driving along, if you're working out, if you are just sitting there numblessly scrolling through Facebook, call us up at 785-621-4110 with your pledge. Let's get them rolling in and let's use up some of those matching funds. All right. Back to Darin and Sean, talking about our insurance needs through the Knights of Columbus and things like that. People probably don't even know to some extent what they need. Is that true?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. All right. So I'm
Your
not too
lips to
far
God's
off base. So then, how do we know really what we need? What should we be looking at? Anything like that you guys could give us some insight into.
Real quick, before we go diving into that, I did want to mention, when you talked about the seminaries, that was another good point. I did not know this. I cradle Catholic, hate to admit that I did not realize that our seminarian brothers have to pay for their own seminary school.
Oh,
no knowledge of that. And it wasn't until I joined the Knights of Columbus that I learned that the Knights of Columbus are huge sponsors, to our seminarian brothers. A lot of them will give them gifts of finances, but also letters of encouragement throughout the year. So
Yeah.
that's something, just another little piece that Brother Knights of Columbus do, is take care of our seminarians throughout the year, whether that be a Christmas card or a birthday card or whatever. But I was clueless. I thought that, that the church paid for their education to go through seminary school.
Yeah, me too.
Until I joined the Knights of Columbus and realized, well, why are we giving them money for? I mean, other than to help them? They said, well, they have to pay for their education just like you or I would if you were going to college. And it blew me away. So I just thought that was a neat little tidbit too, that again, we don't pound our chest when it comes to that. And maybe we should do a better job of promoting that fact that we're taking care of the seminarians. Each council, a lot of times will give those guys some financial contributions to help them with that.
Yeah,
So
that is awesome.
I would say that's finding out what you need is the reason why you meet with a field agent.
Mhm.
It's a free, no obligation. It's basically an insurance checkup. Why do you go to the doctor? Do you see the doctor in the grocery store and the doctor says, man, Cody, you're kind of limping a little. Why don't you come check this out? And you roll your eyes at him and say, I'm good, doc. No, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. You're not the doctor. And it goes back to what I was saying. We're the interpreter of the language of life insurance, and every agent, by all means, I can't speak for everybody throughout the order of the country, but our agency, I can speak on behalf of every one of those gentlemen, because I know for a fact most of their appointments are these type of checks and don't result in a sale. The agent doesn't get paid. It's just meeting with Cody and his wife, and hey, according to because we have a formula that we go right, and it's very private, it's very confidential, but it's a simple needs analysis that meeting with an agent, you can give him the numbers and he adds it up and just shows you and presents you with, hey, this was your insurance checkup, just like what the doctor's going to say, hey, your cholesterol is a little high, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. The doctor can't make you start exercising.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor can't make you cut out McDonald's. The Knights of Columbus insurance agent can't make you buy anything.
Yeah.
All we can do is say, hey, and I also want to point out, there are instances we meet with people all the time that it's like, hey, you're in good shape.
Okay.
Cool. Now you have the peace of mind from a professional
Yeah, good
that
job.
your hunch was good. But yeah, without meeting with a professional, how do you know? Because and Sean and I could tell you stories all day and they're sad stories because of people that were convinced, oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Sadly, that person ends up perishing and their wife calls us. I literally had someone message me on Facebook yesterday because they don't have my phone number. Hey, his family passed. Did he have a policy? Nope. Never had a policy. And my point is, people love to say, well, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then why is your family checking to see if you had a policy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what makes,
well,
there's no shame in that, but
ultimately they're thinking, I have enough for final expenses. I have enough
Yeah.
to
yeah,
bury,
I'll cover the burial.
yeah, to bury me. What they don't think about is the emergency fund for your spouse. What they're not thinking about is that education fund for their children. What they're not thinking about is that income replacement. You were going to work for probably another 30 years, and now your wife has nothing more than your Social Security check. So there's a lot of those details that we go over when we sit down with members and their wives, and just go over all those things. And yes, 100%. If they have what they need, we will tell them as much.
Mm-hmm.
We're not here, and I love to get when I'm calling people to set up an appointment. I love the I don't need anything. You're not going to sell me anything. I love to say, well, good, because I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to educate you.
Yeah.
And so I find myself, I'm an educator. I'm not a salesman. To me, it's almost like a dirty word. I'm not some, you just think instantly of some bad guy. We're not bad guys by any stretch. contrary to his look, he's actually a really good guy.
I was waiting for this smack talk.
Now
That's proof we're friends.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. So, can we start digging in then to what do we look at? It's obviously going to be different for every person, and that's what you guys have really made clear for us. Is let us sit down and just see if you're good or see if you need coverage. So, can we dig into some of the different type of plans and things that you guys do offer then, and maybe what situation you would be looking for to cover those different types of things?
I mean, all situations are different. We have whole life, which is kind of our bread and butter. That's our crown jewel, and it's a permanent product that grows cash value. It can be paid up. It's basically like a mortgage. You pay the mortgage for X amount of years. You can borrow against the equity. Nobody's going to kick you out of that house. It's yours. That's whole life.
Okay.
Another one of our top products, and Sean and I are both, we both have these products, is term insurance. It's very affordable. It's not expensive at all, but it's basically renting that coverage. So the rental is 20 years. Something happens in 20 years, you're good. After 20 years, it's over. Unless you pay to change it or you take out another term. We have universal life, which is kind of a hybrid between the two. It's a
Permanent term.
Yeah, it's almost like a permanent term. It's not as expensive as whole life. Yeah, it's a perm. We have SUL, Universal Life, Survivorship Universal Life, which is basically on mom and dad. It's on two people.
Okay.
So, for instance, and we've had a lot of experience with this. Mom and dad are on the farm. They got when dad passes, the tax man ain't gonna come calling because mom becomes the owner of everything. But when mom passes, tax man's coming. There's nothing you can do to shift it. Tax man's coming. So
Gotcha.
You do an SUL on both of their lives, you can get a much bigger bang for the buck. So you can put $1 million on a couple that, I don't know, is half the cost of $1 million on one person.
Okay.
Because that's just how the underwriting works out.
And what was that one called?
SUL, Survivorship Universal Life. It's on two. It's also commonly called Second to Die, because you're paying the premium. Say if April and I have a Second to Die policy, we're paying the premium. I pass away, she still pays the premium. It pays on the second death.
Okay.
And about the concept of what people need, I heard this analogy a long time ago. Like say somebody makes $50,000 so a year. So take your mind out of that and imagine you have a machine in your basement that spits out $50,000 a year. What are you going to insure that for? That's what you are. You're a machine that spits out $50,000 a year. One day it's going to break down, i.e. death or disability, because we have income armor as well. What are you going to insure that with? So a lot, and that's Sean alluded to it earlier, income replacement. That's an easy one. There's a lot of people in our listening area right now that, she'll be fine. Well, is she working? No, I'm bringing in most of the money.
We have assets to cover that.
Yeah, we have assets to cover that. Or, there's somebody, I heard this on I don't know if you're familiar with Patrick Bet-David. He's got a podcast.
I know who he is. I haven't listened to it.
I was listening to it the other day, and I guess he used to be in life insurance. And he does a lot of political podcast and celebrities. And he said, something that we did in the insurance sales, and I've never heard this concept. I haven't even shared it with the guys. It was a week ago, that you meet with people. Do you oftentimes, and maybe this isn't going to be applied to a lot of our listening area, but I thought it was a good concept. You meet with husband and wife. Husband says, well, she'll remarry. We hear that comment all the time. And Patrick Bet-David said, you want to say to that gentleman, do you want her to feel forced to get remarried? Wow. Or do you want her to have enough money to either never get remarried, like my mom, or be picky and choosy about her next? Or do you want her to feel obligated, need a man to take care of me? And I'm just saying that's a
reality.
That's
that
a
we live in.
reality. We all, if we think hard enough, we all know people that have lost somebody that marry quickly, and so yeah, I'm sure my wife could definitely remarry a hell of a lot, excuse me, a heck of a lot sooner than I could with a face like mine. But I want her to have enough protection that if she ever decides to, she can be picky and choosy. She doesn't have an obligation to, man, I got bills to pay.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe she's like, I had put up with Darin for all those years. I ain't putting up with another.
Yeah. The bar's been lowered, so nowhere to go but up.
Oh my. We are on talking with Darin Reed and Sean Lennenberger about Knights of Columbus insurance, just the brotherhood itself, and all kinds of wonderful things that can come through being a member. We're going to get right back to it here in just a second. I did want to remind people that you're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-thon, Joy of the Gospel, and we're asking that you would partner with us in continuing this message of the gospel and continuing to get it out there on these radio waves. Please call us at 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. And you can call in, make your pledge, and help us to keep these radio waves going. We have still plenty of matching funds left. Let's get them used up. 785-621-4110. We're going to get back to talking with Darin and Sean just about all kinds of different Knights of Columbus things. So we discussed it earlier a little bit. Sometimes people have the thought of like, well, I'm young. Why do I need it? We discussed a lot of those things. Like, well, one, yeah, you just don't know what's going to happen, right? But I also want to jump into then just some of the other things that like the Knights of Columbus organization can just offer its members just for being a member. So would you guys like to speak to some of those things? So what are some of the other benefits of joining Knights of Columbus?
And Sean Sean will be better at answering that part. But I want to touch on something. It's our job. Everybody lives in today. Today's busy.
Oh yeah.
You're worrying about, how much gas do you have? Got to drop the kids off here. I got to do this. Got to grab a gallon. You're thinking about today. A Knights of Columbus field agent, it's our job to think about tomorrow. So that is the value we bring. And the other thing that I had a class with some other general agents about a month ago about special needs planning. That's another huge thing that the Knights of Columbus are uniquely qualified of visiting with folks about, because if you have a special needs child, you're not thinking about, hey, what happens when mom and dad are gone?
Gotcha.
In all likelihood, that child, especially in 2024, soon to be 2025, that child's going to outlive you.
Yeah.
So we have the training, we have the knowledge, we have the products to set things up that's going to take care of that child down the road.
Oh, that is neat to know. Yeah.
Yeah, so some of the things that the Knights of Columbus organization here in Hayes, the Knights of Columbus is the primary sponsor of the Special Olympics basketball tournament.
Yeah.
I'm sure a couple months ago during October, many of you guys saw the Brother Knights out in front of Dillon's or Walmart with their aprons that said helping those with mental disabilities. So the Knights of Columbus does a Tootsie Roll drive in October, and they use the proceeds from that to give back to local organizations like DSNWK and Bethesda Place and the Arc of Central Kansas, so that they can get some of the stuff that they need, whether it be medical equipment or whatever. But the Knights of Columbus is huge into Special Olympics, so definitely help out there. The seminary and stuff like I just talked about. So a couple of years ago, Darin and I had the privilege to help out. Now, it wasn't a privilege, as you guys know, with the Paradise situation where the grounds were all burned up and animals were all perished and huge wildfire, right? We were able to go up there and as members, not of the insurance industry, but as members of the Knights of Columbus, and provide the first responders just with a meal of food. So we went up there and we barbecued for them. And But the Knights of Columbus has what's called the Emergency Disaster Relief Aid, or EDAP program, where stuff like that, when the wildfires went and claimed the farm ground and houses and animals, Knights of Columbus was able to go up there and give vouchers for food and gas and clothing so that they could help get back onto their feet. That's another thing. Darin, Greensburg, were you?
Yeah, I went down to Greensburg. That was early in my career. After the Greensburg tornado, we went down there, and on the way down there, the thinking was, and they probably don't want me to say this, but it's true. The thinking was we're going to give $100 to every family of a brother knight. And myself and a decent amount of other gentlemen were like, the tornado didn't discriminate, neither should we.
Yeah.
So every family, every house in Greensburg got $100, which doesn't seem like a lot, but literally we walked door to door, and when it was all said and done, the state Knights of Columbus gave over $60,000 to the town of Greensburg.
Wow. So,
I mean, the other thing I would say is the Knights of Columbus is a what you make of it organization. Well, I'm a proud member of the Ellis Council, and we were trying to think of what functions we could do, and this was in the heat of the war on terror, and we ended up, and it was simply me raising my hand and saying, why don't we do this? They unanimously accepted it. We collected over $5,000 of items, from socks, ramen noodles, it always cracks me up. People brought used fly swatters, video games, batteries, and sent those to troops over in Iraq and Afghanistan. And St. Mary's School, gosh, I got a freshman at K-State, and she wasn't even in school then. But the children at St. Mary's decorated the boxes. We had everything set up in the hall. So it's one of those organizations that if you're thinking to yourself, how can I give back? What can I do? It's through the Knights of Columbus, and I'm a big believer. Sean and I are both proud fathers of sons, and I'm sure he's said this phrase, but I'll church it up a little because I'm on the radio. But basically, if you're not going to do something about a problem, don't complain about it.
Okay.
There's plenty to complain about in life. There's plenty gosh, why doesn't somebody do something?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're that somebody.
Yeah.
And the chassis for that action is the Knights of Columbus. So,
yeah,
get out and get some, do something.
Yeah. What better organization to be a part of that truly is Catholics taking care of Catholics? Such a great opportunity to ultimately, joining the Knights of Columbus helped make me a better husband and a better father, and ultimately a better person.
Same.
So, what organization to be a better part of than the Knights of Columbus? And that has nothing to do with insurance whatsoever.
No. 4 years in the Marine Corps, 4 years in college, I wasn't the most loyal. And I'm a cradle Catholic as well. I wasn't the most, I guess loyal would be the word, church, of Sunday church and everything. Well, what happened after I graduated college was two things. I got married and started working for the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
And we don't miss a Sunday. Has nothing to do with insurance. It's the Knights of Columbus has made me a better husband, father, and better Catholic. It honestly has.
Yeah.
Because we work in an environment that you don't have to quiet down if you're going to talk about religion.
Yeah.
You're encouraged to proclaim it with the Knights of Columbus.
One of my proudest moments of being a member of the Knights of Columbus was when I went to New Haven, Connecticut for my training when I first joined as a field agent. It just totally blew me away to tears, honestly, when you start a meeting with prayer. What other company can we go and work for where you start your day with a prayer?
Yeah.
And the Knights of Columbus does the same thing in their meetings as council members. We start our meetings with a prayer and then ultimately the Pledge of Allegiance. What other organization or company that we work for does that? and we don't have to hide our faith.
Yeah.
You know, you get to come to work every day, and it's okay that I have a rosary hanging up on my wall and a picture of
Yeah.
Jesus on my wall. There's not too many places that you can go, and that's okay.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, hey, thank you so very much, Darin,
Absolutely.
Sean. It's great having you in here. We appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely,
Thank
Cody.
you, Cody.
Have a great
Appreciate
day.
you.
You too, brother.
All right, we just got done talking with Darin and Sean, and they were discussing Knights of Columbus, but not just the insurance side. They were talking about Knights of Columbus itself, what the brotherhood means, and why it's a good thing to join. But also, if you have any questions, get a hold of them. They'll come see you. They're not going to pressure you to buy anything. They just want to make sure that you're taken care of. So, thanks, fellas. Have an amazing day. You're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-thon, Joy of the Gospel. We are here this week, and we interrupt our normal programming to bring you special guests like this because they believe in the work that we do. We believe in the work that they do, and we partner together so that we can bring about the message of Christ to the world. And that is the theme that we have going on, the joy of the gospel. We've got a Care-a-thon goal of $125,000, and we want to keep chipping away at that. We had a couple of $250 donors last hour. Let's see if you're out there and you're listening and you can give us another $250. Call in and do that. We've got a $500, and I bet we've got a $1,000 donor out there too. Let's see within this next hour. Let's get a $250.